Hi, welcome to Holistic Mojo. I'm Sahara Lee, and today I want to talk to you a bit about social anxiety and ways that you can help yourself manage your social anxiety. About 10 years ago, I had no idea what social anxiety was or that I might even have it. I just knew that I got really depleted in social situations and that I felt like my body was trying to rip itself apart in social situations, which was kind of weird because I was a teacher. I'd been teaching yoga at that point for over 10 years. I had been teaching massage. I was doing massage. I was interacting with people all the time. I'd been teaching dance. So it didn't occur to me that I might have social anxiety until I was forced to sit with it a little bit more. And by sit with it, I mean that I had all of my defense mechanisms torn away. So about that same time, I discovered tango dance. And if you dance tango, then you know that you are in a room full of people in a social setting, and you ask each other to dance by eye contact and kind of towards the dance floor. Which is a nightmare for anybody with social anxiety. I'd spent my whole life being in rooms of people, feeling like I just wanted to escape and looking for ways to escape and always finding them. Kids were a great way to do that. Nothing better than being like, I'm just gonna be over here coloring, avoiding the rest of humanity with these children who don't want to talk to me about anything in particular, or animals. So if I was at a party and you couldn't find me, you were guaranteed I was either with a child or I was with an animal, just kind of curled up, petting them like, oh, I'm just being the masseuse for the animal. That was my excuse. And I lost that ability. There's no children and there's no animals typically when you go to a tango milonga. So here I am. My desire to get back into dance and into creativity drew me to this community of dancers. And here I am. I've paid my money to come into a room full of strangers. And I've done this all over the world. So sometimes I don't even speak the same language as these strangers. And I'm sitting in a room full of people wishing I could disappear. And that anxiety, that feeling of just my body wants to turn itself inside out and I can't hide enough. And I've paid money to do it and to be in that place. And that was when I started to observe myself and recognize what I was doing. And I observed it mostly because I broke the social norm of tango. Like I said, you kind of make eye contact with somebody and nod towards the dance floor. It's called cabeceo, and that's how you ask somebody to dance. But I was in this complete panicked, anxious state, and nobody knew me. Nobody knows me oftentimes around the world, and I felt like, what do I do? I'm in this position where I'm terrified and I'm anxious and it feels like my cells are attacking each other. How do I get through this? And the initial desire when you have anxiety like that or fear of any sort is to move away from it. It's that feeling of like, if I can just get flat enough against the wall, small enough, nobody will see me and I won't have to deal with what I'm feeling. And the desire within me to go and dance was too strong. And also the cheapness in me of like, I just paid my money. I'm not going to just like not do anything. Those two things drove me to actually walk into that fear and into that anxiety. And I did the very not wonderful thing in tango of walking up to people and being like, do you want to dance? Like I had to walk into it. Otherwise, I would have run away and I would have missed this amazing 10 years that I've had in this community. And the people I've met all over the world are just amazing. Because that's what you lose when you've got anxiety or fear of any sort. You lose pieces of your life to that fear, to that anxiety, because it's like it literally feels like you're being propelled backwards and away from that thing. But if you can move into it, if you can override that fear and walk into that fear, then it can't harm you anymore. It doesn't go away, but it doesn't rule your life anymore. You're in control of it. And if you ask anybody that knows me personally, you would never say that I'm socially anxious or an introvert. I command a room. I'm the one cracking jokes. I'm laughing the loudest. I'm always doing something inappropriate. And I recognized from this experience of having to sit back and watch myself that that's what I've been doing my whole life. When I'm stripped of the easy exit, the closet to go hide in, or the bathroom trip that just takes, 30 minutes for me to hide. When I'm stripped of all that stuff and my desire to live is stronger than my desire to die, I move into it and I command it. There's this really great video I saw a few weeks ago somewhere on Facebook, and it was of a goat I guess it's more of a story of a lion in the basis. But so there's a lion in a zoo and it's fed live bait. So they put goats in there. And it attacks the goats and it eats the goats. But this one goat got put into the enclosure and it had never experienced a lion. It had no understanding of what fear was. And it kind of wandered up to the lion and was like, "Hey, what's up? What are you doing? What's going on in here? What's good?" And they became friends. And I love that story because when you succumb to your fear, it eats you alive. It takes over your life. It kills pieces of you, experiences that you could have. But when you just walk up to it and you're like, "Hey, how's it going? What's kicking? What's good?" You become friends with it. It doesn't mean it's not still a lion. It doesn't mean that it couldn't harm you in any way. It doesn't mean that it doesn't still feel like when I'm standing in the middle of the room, owning that room, that I still don't feel fear and I don't feel anxiety and it doesn't still feel like my cells are being ripped apart. But damn it, it feels a hell of a lot better than sitting in the corner and having that same experience, because I get to fucking live. I get to create relationships with people. I get to experience new things. I get to learn new languages. I make friends all over the world because I choose to live instead of dying. It feels the same. That fear, that anxiety doesn't go away, but I gain so much more from walking into it. So I challenge you, whether you're dealing with social anxiety or just fear of taking a step or fear of asking somebody out, there's nothing that feels worse than what you're feeling right now when the fear is owning you. Nothing. You're dying sitting there. So I challenge you to go out and live, to move into the things that create discomfort in your life, to move into the things that you're scared, move through them, to take charge of them, to own them. Go ahead and be that goat that thinks it's a lion. Make friends with the things that terrify you and start to live your life.